Hi, and thank you for joining me. It's Georgia here, and I am here with the first project for my November 2020 virtual faith art retreat, Waiting for Your Light. Now, I'm very excited because, well, I'm a bit sad because this is the last official retreat for the year. But I'm excited because it's an Advent / Christmas themed retreat, and I know a lot of you girls and guys who are joining me are really excited, not mentioning anyone in particular, Jennifer. Now, I have chosen to do the journaly type project first because you're going to need this if you are coming along with me to the next. It's not really a retreat, it's an event. I am going to be hosting an event that's kind of crossing over with this retreat because this retreat is running until Monday, the 30th of November. But the day before, Sunday, the 29th of November, is the first Sunday of Advent. And we will be, well, I myself will be keeping an Advent journal as I did last year. And I am going to run that as an event through the same channel that you're watching this, that you joined this event, this retreat on. I'm waffling today. But yeah, anyway, short story. I will be running an Advent event. And if you are coming along to that, you will need some sort of art journal that you can keep through the whole of Advent. So if you want to use a handmade journal, this is perfect because this is what I'll be doing. This is last year's. I'm going to be creating a whole new one this year. Now, just to give you a quick idea, this is a traveler's notebook. I actually had the cover laminated at Officeworks, which is the equivalent of your Staples, I believe, USA Friends. Sorry, Lara, and UK and other European countries. I don't know. I can't remember what yours is called. But, you know, a great big stationery place where you can go and get things like laminating done. So I had mine laminated there because when I made this last year, I actually made it too big for my little A4 laminator. A day in the life of Georgia. So it's a traveler's notebook. It has a cover, which I have laminated. It has a closure, which is an elastic. We will get to that. And inside are 4 little booklets that we call signatures. And each of these, they actually come out. So they're bound with elastic. And if I can get to the middle page, here we go. They actually come out so you can rearrange them, take them out when you're journaling, put them back in, whatever you like. I'm sort of doing the whole, don't want to show too much, sort of secret journaling, hiding thing as I go. So this had 4 booklets. And each of the booklets had, because last year was quite interesting. Last year, the first Sunday of Advent was on the 1st of December. So Advent actually ran kind of like your chocolate Advent calendars from the 1st of December until Christmas. And so I kind of had a week to each, I believe. Yeah, I had a week to each booklet for the first 3 weeks. So the first one went to the 7th. Well, you know, trust me on that. just trust me. First one went to the 7th, then the next one went to the 14th, the third one went to the 21st, and then the final one was not a whole week, of course, but went to the 22nd. I did a double page spread. 23rd, a double page spread. Yes, we kept that one very simple. 24th was Christmas Eve. Did a big double page spread. Got the gold out and the Christmas decorations off the tree. Yeah, 25th, a double page spread. Whole lot of stories behind this one. And then I actually had a page where I just wrote some stuff. This year's going to be a little bit different because we're starting on the 29th of November, but we will get to that later on. But I'm still going to do 4 booklets. So I will have the same structure as last year's book. I'm going to make a cover. I'm going to put 4 signatures into it. And to make it really super easy for myself, I'm actually going to use this as a template so that my books will be exactly the same in size. So when I shelf them, you know, they'll match sort of. And to make them really match, I am going to actually use this paper again. Now this is quite a few years old, so I'm sorry, I don't know if you'll be able to find it. It's an illustrated faith paper from their collection that was called Advent, and this paper is called Glory in the Highest, and I'm going to use that for my cover. And then I am going to use, I have pulled out, now this is the new Echo Park, one of the new Echo Park Christmas collections this year. It's called Silent Night. I always get the Echo Park Christmas collections because they are one of my favorite companies. And no, I am not getting paid for this. This is not an endorsed video. I'll just let you know. And I was thinking of actually using, here we go. I know I'm going to sacrifice the cut parts, but I'll just have to get myself another one. I want to use this as the spine. So I'm going to have the same look as last year's, but with a different color. And then I will find the cut apart to put on the front like this, hopefully in a blue shade, so that it's kind of, you know, coordinating. So what I'm going to start off by doing is just cutting my papers, and to make life easy, what I will do is I'll actually take the signatures out so that you can have a good look. All right, so that's a lot easier to see. So as you can see, I really have, this is the back side, and all I've done is I have cut two pieces for the front and back, and then another piece larger for the spine. So if you wanted to make yours the same size as mine, and you don't have to, you can make them any size you like. So if you're wanting to be this size, the covers are 6 by 8 3/4 inches, and the spine is 2.5 by 8 3/4. Okay, so I've got an 8 3/4 high book, 6 inch, 6 inch, and 2.5 for the spine. So I've cut my papers. Now, something I should have mentioned, there are different ways that you can thread your elastics or string, or however you want to attach your booklets to the cover. But when you are measuring out your pieces, be aware of what you plan to use. I say this because I actually used eyelets for mine, and so I know from experience from last year's book that having a spine that is 1 inch across will easily fit 4 of my little eyelets. So whatever you're planning on using as your binding system, have a think of that, have a think about that before you cut your pieces to size, because you don't want to find yourself with a spine that is too small for whatever you're using. So I did last year put my little eyelets out and measured them to make sure that I would have enough space across the spine. So mine is a 1 inch spine. 4 of the small regular eyelets fit just fine. And also be aware when you're choosing your paper for your covers that the back of the paper will be the inside covers. So just be aware of that, because if you're using a paper that happens to have, for example, if I was to be using this paper as a cover, and I think, oh, that's really lovely, but then the inside would have the cut aparts, which may or may not work depending on the size of your book. So be aware of that. And if the back of your paper does not work well, you might have to stick something else on the inside. Okay, so straight back to this. So my spine, I have my pieces here, and my spine I want to be 1 inch across, but I have cut it at 2.5. So what I'm doing is I'm going to score it at 3/4 inch, and then at 1 3/4. So I basically have 1 inch in the center, which is the outside of my spine, and 3/4 inch on either side to fold over the front and the back. I hope that makes sense. It will all make sense as I put it together, I'm sure. So just folding these, oops, give that a bit of a push down. And I'm not too worried about the back of the spine, because even though this shows and it's bits of cut aparts, because the booklets are sitting in there, you won't really get to see it anyway. So it's all good. Now I have a look at my two pieces and I decide which is going to be the front and back, and I know they look exactly the same, but this one has got the words all cut off at the edge. So if I was to use that as the front, I would have that kind of mess. Whereas if I use it as the back cover, the spine is covering that mess and it's actually a nice clean start. And same with the other piece here. This is the part that's messy, so I'm keeping that inside the spine, and that's nice and neat. But, you know, small things like that. I know it's a little thing, but it's the little things that, if you pay attention to them, all come together and end up giving your project just that really nice, neat look. Very small differences, but they all add up. If you're a neat freak, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I talk rubbish. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know if I make sense half the time. So I'm actually using a wet glue to stick on this. It probably doesn't matter because I'm going to have it laminated, and the laminating process will hold it all together. So I could have used double-sided tape, but I think I've said in the previous video, I'm a glue girl. That's all there is to it. And making sure that they are the right way up, because I don't want to be sticking things upside down. That would be tragic. There we go. Yes, I see that loose piece. Okay, wonderful. Get my little rubby thing. Fabulous. So then all I need to do is find my picture for the front. I've ended up deciding on this cut apart, which is a 4x4 inch, I believe. If I held the ruler up the right way. Yes, a 4x4 inch. Glory to the Newborn King. And I thought this went really well with the spine. It's got, you know, the colours. Now you probably can't see it, but I did ink around the edges with some Faded Jeans coloured distress ink. You can barely see it, but what it's done is along the white of, you know, where you cut the paper, it's darkened that so that it just looks a bit more solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bit of glue. And once again, this is going to be laminated, so the lamination will hold everything together. So I'm not too worried about, you know, how much glue and will it hold forever, even though this glue would. And no, actually I want this in the center. Sorry, I should not talk and do things at the same time. Never goes well. Okay, and this is where I want this one. And I'm going to stick that just like this. I'm going to use the little Advent sign that is on the top of the paper, and I'm not even going to bother with my trimmer. I am just going to cut it out. And I'm going to stick it up the top there. So the barcode sections of your papers are always full of treasures. So here we go. So that's just going here. And now I have my little Advent book. Right. Now I'm not going to do any more to the cover because I need to get it laminated. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to take it up to Officeworks and I'm going to ask the lovely ladies there who have the giant laminator to run this through their laminator and get it nicely plastic coated, covered. Now in the meantime, while I wait to get my cover laminated, I'm going to make the 4 booklets that go inside the notebook. So what I've done is I've just grabbed pretty much the last 3 years collections from Echo Park, and I'm going to choose 4 different pages that are going to be the 4 covers. So I've chosen 2 from this year's Silent Night, this one with the angels, Now you need to be really aware of the back of your papers for this particular part, because the back of each sheet will actually be the inside of your cover. So choose something that's going to work nicely inside as well as outside. So I'm choosing this angel because the back is just a nice plain green design. And I'm also choosing this sheet from the Sign at Night collection. So this one here is called Heavenly Angels. And I am choosing this one as well, which is called Silent Night, because I'm thinking the length of my notebook will probably use either these 3 strips or the bottom 3. I'll see. I am now just flicking through, and I think I will use this one again, which I used last year. This is from the Away in a Manger collection, and it's called Nativity, and I think that will probably be for my final book, which will go into Christmas and some exciting stuff that I'm actually thinking of now, which I did not do last year, but we'll get to that. Yes, I don't know if I'll talk about it today or in the Advent event, but this Traveler's Notebook is, I'm quite excited because I'm doing something a little bit different. And then I may use this one, because then I'll have 2 sort of dark blue covers and 2 white and gold. So this is from the Oh Holy Night collection, and it's called Christ is Born, and on the back is a nice pattern that I can use as well. So they will be my 4 booklets. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut these covers, but I'm going to make them a little bit smaller than the actual cover, because I don't want the booklets to be, or the signatures to be sticking out or to be too close to the edge. So I'm going to make it so it's just so that I've got like a 1/4 inch leeway around all the edges. So if you're using my measurements, my actual notebook is 8.5 inches tall, so I'm going to cut these to be 8.25 inches tall, and the width is 6 inches. So I am going to cut my notebook covers to 11.5 inches across. That's the measurements I'm going to use. So I'm just going to cut all these 4 pieces now. So what I'm doing is I'm just folding all of these in half, and they will make, see, they worked out kind of cute. I mean, I know that's cut off, but that's okay. It's all right, we'll live with that. So that will make the covers of the 4 signatures inside my little traveler's notebook, and I will put them in a particular order, which I know, I'm a bit funny like that. Everything I do tells a story. The story is not always obvious. The story is very often secret, but there's usually something going on in everything I do, and just even in the order that I put these little booklets into my traveler notebook cover. Okay, so now that I have the covers, I'm going to grab a stack of just plain copy paper, and I'm going to cut a bunch of them to go inside each of these as the pages. Okay, so what I did was I grabbed a stack of just plain white copy paper and cut it down to size to fit my little booklets. So in my case it was 8.25 inches by 11.5, so that when I fold them in half they are the same size as the covers. Now I used 15 sheets of paper, 4 each for 3 of the booklets and 5 for another one. Now the thinking behind this is Counting from the first Sunday of Advent until Christmas Day is 27 days this year. And I thought, wow, well, 9 3s are 27. Woohoo, that's. So if I was to put 9 days per booklet, that would take up 3 booklets. And then I would have an extra booklet, which is actually going to be this one, in which I can then go from Christmas Day to Epiphany, the 6th of January, or as you probably know it, the 12 days of Christmas. So my little Advent book this year is going to be a little bit beyond Advent. It's going to be Advent, Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas. So that's my crazy idea. So my final book has got an extra page because then I can go, and hopefully this is going to work out or else I'm going to feel like a bit of an idiot. Title page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's heaps, which means that I can have a couple of pages that can actually be double spreads. And I'm actually thinking Christmas Day might come in this. So I might have title page, Christmas Day, and then start counting the 12 days, which would go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is so boring, isn't it? 5, 6. Maybe do a double spread for 7, just, you know, just randomly there. 8, 9, 10, 11. Double page for 12, being Epiphany. See, somewhere along the way I can do another double page. So there'll be a couple of double pages in this. So my last booklet will be the 12 days of Christmas, whereas the others will be title page and 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's say single, single, double, hey? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can do a couple of double spreads. Okay, so I'll have plenty of pages. That was so unnecessary, but just to show you, plenty of pages to do all of Advent with over the space of 3 booklets. Christmas Day being either the final page, doubles page spread of these, you know, page booklet number 3, or the first double page spread of the 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of Christmas book. Okay, rambling on. So what you need to do then is get your pages. So I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of paper folded in half. And get them sitting in there nice and tight against the spine. Make sure you've centered it nicely. Then grab your pokey tool and a couple of inches from the top, poke a hole all the way through the pages and the cover. And then the same, a couple of inches from the bottom. This is if you're binding it this way. You don't have to bind it this way. You could use your sewing machine. You could staple it. You could, I don't know, all sorts of things. But this is just the way I like to do it. I've grabbed this hemp cord, which is quite a really thick string. And I'm going to use this to bind it. You could use anything. You could use embroidery thread. That works really well. Any kind of, you know, thick cotton thread that you like. So starting from the inside, I've threaded it through a big needle. Starting from the inside, go out. It's a bit of a fight because this is quite thick. Pull it all the way through, making sure you don't pull, you know, the end out. Then from the outside in your other hole, start from the outside, and you might have to fiddle around a little bit if you've moved it like I have. And come back up into your booklet. Then pull it through, but make sure you leave enough in there so that you can tie a knot. Then tie a nice tight double knot. It's a bit fiddly. trim the edge, and there you have your little bound booklet. We will come back at one point to show you what I do with the end of these strings to make it a little bit prettier. So that's how you bind your signature booklet. So do that 4 times. So here we have 4 bound up booklets with plenty of pages to journal through Advent, Christmas, and right up to Epiphany. Okay, and they will go into the cover once I have it laminated and ready for the next step. I brought the cover to the big stationery place, to Officeworks here in Australia, and they did a beautiful job of laminating. Much nicer than last year, actually. The one last year came through with some lumps and bubbles, and the girl said to me, oh, that's because of the thickness of having, you know, something stuck on the cover. But I think it was more that she did not, or maybe the machine was not having a bad day. Let's say the machine was having a bad day, because this time around it has come out so perfect. I was expecting the lumpiness because of that extra layer, but it is so smooth and beautiful. That's all right to go. Now, how you bind your signature booklets inside the cover is of course up to you. I am going to use eyelets once again. So I've grabbed my little stash, and I'm sure I have, yes I do, beautiful, just as well. I have gold ones left over, which is what I want because I want to pick up the gold from the stars. So I am going to, exactly like last year's one, I'm going to put 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom. I know they will fit because this is exactly the same size. Now, some of you might have those fancy eyelet setting tools, like the We Are Memory Keeper crocodile one. I have no such thing, so I'm going old school. I'm using my little mat and my eyelet setting hammer with the tool thing inside. Here we go. Okay, but I'm not going to do this on camera because I know that doing it here on my desk with the lamp and the glass mat and everything is really bad. So I'm going to take it off to the kitchen bench and then I will come back once I've actually set the eyelets into the spine. I've done my eyelets. Now I'm not having a very good eyelet setting day, so they're a little bit messy and rough on the inside. But I'm just going to live with that because the booklets will hide that. Now, I forgot to mention, if you are using eyelets for yours and you want to have a closure like mine is going to have, you will also need to set an eyelet in the center, halfway down the spine, because we'll have another elastic running through that will tie the whole thing together. Now, what you'll need is some hat elastic. It's just very, very thin elastic. And okay, well this one says 5 millimeters, if that helps you. I have a packet of 5 millimeter, and I have a leftover from another pack which is actually quite a little bit thinner, so I'd say this might be 4 millimeter perhaps. So it's quite strong but very thin elastic that you can thread through. So what you want to do is you want to cut a piece that's about 3 times the length of your book, so you've got plenty to work with. Now you want to thread it from the inside. Thread it out of hole number 1 at the top. And pull most of it through, but keep some on the inside so you don't unthread it. Then when you go back to the outside of the book, come back in through hole number 2 at the top again. So you'll end up with the line of elastic like this. Then back to the inside, bring it down to the bottom, and go out through hole number 2. Flip it over here. Back in through hole number 1. I know it looks like 4 on the outside, but it's 1 on the inside. So back in through hole number 1. So there we go. So we have a full length here, and we have a full length across hole number 2. And across hole number 1, we have the 2 loose ends, which you then want to tie in a double knot, nice and tight, because it will give a little bit over time, and you're going to have your books through it, so do it as tight as you can get it without it warping. There we go. And then just cut that down a little bit, and you've got your holders for 2 of your booklets. So now I'm going to do, oops, the same thing on the other side in case you need to watch it again to get your head around it. I know it takes me a while to sort of practice and do the logical thinking so it all comes out in the right place. So once again, 3 times the length of my book. You can go a little bit shorter to not waste the elastic. And once again, I'm going out. Now I'm going to do the opposite of what I did. So I'm going to go out through hole number 4, pull most of it through, back in through hole number 3, bring it all the way down, out through hole number 3, back in through hole number 4, and tie them up at the center. Nice and tight. And voila. So yes, I know there's a difference in thickness, but I'm going to live with that and not worry myself too much. Okay, so now we just need to do the elastic for the closure. Now what you will need is a piece of elastic, obviously. Now you don't have to use elastic. You could use ribbon or, I don't know, ribbon or string, anything you like really. And you don't have to do the whole thing with the eyelet. You could just, you know, as those of you who know me and know my old journaling Bible that just had the big lace ribbon tied around it, you could do that. You know, that's just as beautiful. I just do this for convenience, so I'm going to do the same things I have here, which is an elastic closure. And as you can see, I have a charm hanging on this one. So I'm just going to go searching through my stash and see if I have a charm that I like to use on the new book, and then I'll show you how I do the elastic closure. Now for the closure, you're going to need another piece of elastic about 2 and a little bit times the width of your book. And this is such a really easy thing to do. I've pulled out these Dovecraft Magic of Christmas charms. I don't particularly like this as my charm for the cover. It sort of gets a little bit lost there. I want to use something else, something more blingy and with a bit of gold maybe. I don't have anything in my stash, so I might have to go Christmas decoration shopping perhaps. So for now I'm going to use this just to show you how to put this together, and later on if I find something else I will pull this apart and change it, and then I will show you on one of my social links, which are all down below, or during the retreat perhaps. It depends on when I find something. So I'm just threading my charm through now. This is the part you need to remember. If you have a charm that threads through rather than has a clasp, put it on straight away so you don't forget. And then from the outside, you want to thread both elastics through the whole of your eyelet. And it's not an easy thing to do, depending on the thickness of your elastic. So I'm actually putting them through one at a time, so I can pull one sort of to the side and have more access to that hole there. Put the other one in, oh there we go, depending on how thick your elastic is. And once you have them through, tie them together in a double knot. Now this one you won't really worry too much about because it will be, I'm only doing a single knot actually because it's tight enough. You won't be worried too much about this one because it will be hidden between the booklets. These are the ones that will get messy and you might want to do something. We'll get to that at some point. This one, really don't worry because once the booklets are in there, it gets hidden. So I've got it between the 2 sets of elastics. Pull this out and there you go. You have an elastic that you can then, oh, if I can separate it, pop over your book. You've got the pretty charm that hangs there. Once again, I will change that charm at some point when I find something that I like better. So then you grab your books, and I have the 4 signature booklets here, and all you need to do is each book open up at the center page and pop it in so that you have your elastic running down the spine. So that's book number 4. Book number 3 comes on the 3rd elastic. Book number 2 on the 2nd elastic. I'm alternating the dark blue covers with the white and gold, or the cream and gold covers. You can put them in any order you like. There you go. And if you don't like the order, you can take them out and swap them over. So there you go. There's Traveler's Notebook. And because the booklets slide in and out, you can actually take the booklet out if you're working on it and carry that around with you. And it's also great when you're working on it to take it out, because then you don't have that thickness of all the other pages behind it. So you've got a pretty flat surface to work on, and then you just slide it back in. And then we pop the elastic on to hold it. And how, you know, it's pretty quick and simple. Once you get the hang of making these, you can make one in a few hours, and they're a really great thing to have. You can use it as a notebook, as a you know, as an art journal, as a scrapbook, as a recipe book, as anything, you know, great to give as gifts. So this one is going to be my Advent art journal that I will be using for our Advent event. I just like saying that, the Great Advent Event 2020, which will be called I'll Be Here Waiting. And that's going to be running from the 29th, so from this Sunday, if you're watching this in real time, from Sunday the 29th of November, which is the first Sunday of Advent, I will be actually starting this book. Now, in the meantime, there's only one other little thing, and that is these little pieces of string that hold the books together. Now, if you don't mind them like this, not a problem, absolutely fine. You can just keep them, or you can do a little thing that just pretties them up just a little bit. Now, I'm not actually going to do anything about these strings just yet. I won't cover them until I actually get to that page during my Advent journaling process, simply because I don't know what's going on the page. And this will be, I'll show you an example in just a moment. Rather than going through the process of covering them now, I will just give you a few ideas by showing you last year's Advent book and this year's Lent book, and show you what I did. Now, the reason I say I don't know what's actually going to happen to the page is that I might end up with a page like this, where what I did on this page last year is I actually covered the whole thing with a piece of scrapbooking paper. So the string bits are actually under the paper, so I didn't have to worry about this one. Another one that was covered was, and excuse me while I go hiding secret journaling, this one I actually stuck a serviette or a napkin over the page and then painted. So once again, the strings are underneath between the layers, so did not have to worry there. Now, something that I did for the other pages, and excuse me, I'm doing it again, but you know me and my secret journaling. What I did for these pages is I actually got these gold puffy star stickers, and I just put one on each side of the very edge of the very tip of the string. I put a tiny bit of really, really good glue in between them because sticker on sticker just wasn't sticking. So instead of having those loose ends of string, I've actually got these two really pretty stars, a big silver one and a little gold one. Now, as you can see, the elastic that holds the book in, I haven't done anything about it, and it doesn't worry me. I've just left it. I think it's fine. If it bothers you, you can do the same sort of thing, put something on the edge of it. So that's what I did for the Advent book. That aside. Now, my Lent book, I actually did something a little bit different, which involved a lot of cutting. Okay, on this particular page, I used these two washi tapes, and all I did is I cut a heart or two hearts out of this one and just stuck them back to back on the very tip of the string. And for this one, I just cut out, this one has words on it, faith, joy, hope, pray. So I just cut out the word faith and, oh, there's the back, and the word pray, and just stuck them again back to back. So you've got this cute little tip on the edge of your string, just with washi tape. And another one that I did, let's see, just finding it for you. Oh, here we go. This one I just cut out of patterned scrapbooking paper, and I just cut that little design with the cross on it, and once again, two of them back to back, right on the very tip of the string. So instead of having just loose string there, you've got, you know, string with cute little embellishments hanging off it. And the final one, okay, we're really going to, we're going all out here. Yeah, this one I actually used this stained glass washi tape, and I just cut the squares out, and once again back to back, really simple. It sticks really well to itself, and right at the very edge of the very tip of the string, so you've got a cute little embellished string rather than just loose string. And that's it. So the Advent 2020 Traveler's Notebook, ready to go, all set, except for this charm. I don't like this charm. I don't like the way it sits anyway. So I'm going to replace the charm at some point, and I will put pictures of the cover with the new charm on all my social links, which are down below. So that will change at some point, but otherwise, happy with it. It was pretty simple to make, really fun to make. If you find yourself, you know, a nice Christmas paper that you really like, of course you don't have to do this as a Christmas or Advent book. You can do them for any theme that you like. I might actually end up cutting this a little bit. It's too big for my liking. So I will actually start working on this on Sunday, the 29th of November. I will do my first, I will probably do a title page at some point before then. And on the 29th, first Sunday of Advent, I will definitely do a double spread, and this will take me all the way through to Christmas, and then very likely the last booklet will be the 12 days of Christmas from Christmas Day until Epiphany. So if you are joining in the Advent event, I'll be here waiting. It is being run through, interesting question, it's been run through my Facebook. Links are down below. Sorry, but I'm in the process of changing where the events are actually running from. So at this point that I'm filming, I don't know if I'm running this through my personal profile or through my page. So you will either find this on my Georgia Idreams profile or on my Isaiah Dreams Facebook page. But I will put something down in the comments below so that you can find the retreat. If you are making one of these, would love to see yours. Please post your pictures in my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator, or on any of my links below. Would love to see, link me and show me what you've done. And really hope that you'll join me as we journal our way through Advent. For now, thank you so much for joining me. Project done. And I'm 2.5 weeks before retreat, so I'm very pleased with myself that I'm so organised. So famous last words, I'll probably have disasters now, nothing else will get done. But yeah, thank you again so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Bye.